From cultivating opportunities to navigating regulations, the cannabis industry is booming. Due to viewer response to our previous podcast concerning the cannabis industry and valuation, we're excited that industry leader Thunderwalker has joined us to continue this fascinating conversation.
Hi, I'm Thaddaus Dawson, 10K MA podcast here with Shani Aldrich and the queen of cannabis judge, cannabis license holder, cannabis promoter, cannabis appraiser, hemp and cannabis teacher and instructor, Miss Thunder Walker. This is our second podcast on the valuation of hemp and cannabis and closing the wealth gap by becoming a cannabis appraiser. And also now I've learned you become a cannabis judge. She will talk to you a little bit about what's involved in becoming a cannabis judge and the esteemed Cowboy Cup, where they send you out a box of cannabis to judge and value, as well as edibles. And it's a 30-day supply, and you can become an official cannabis judge. Shani, why are you laughing? This is true.
It's the way you This is serious. I mean, it's a real serious thing. See, these people that judge cannabis and those that are in this space, everybody wants to be rewarded and shown that they really have perfected their craft. And so I take this really, really seriously. They do cannabis training, judge training. And so they teach you about the smell, the taste, the effect, what it should look like. And it's a huge market. So I'm a celebrity judge, which means I go to different places and I judge cannabis. But there's all types of judges that are out there. You just have to be educated on the actual product. So it's not just the actual flower itself. Sometimes it's edibles, topicals. Sometimes it's vapes, cartridges. It's all different forms of judging. And so you do get approximately how many people entered. It could be 20 or 30 people that enter a competition. And you get a chance to smoke that or try that particular product for 30 days, and you usually get like a gram. So with the Cowboy Cup, this year I got 30 of these. It's really, really cool.
Can you show us the Cowboy Cup box, Thunder, that it comes in?
Absolutely. So I got 30 of these, and they are numbered. And so I didn't know who grew the product or anything like that. I didn't even know the name of the strains. I just had to smoke one a day and then rate that particular product.
You know what, Thunder? It's so funny to me because you know how like when people are consuming it, whether it's a gummy or they're smoking it, they're like, oh, this is good, or this, like people are judging it all the time when they're consuming it. So to have you to be able to do it and for these companies is really amazing because now they know like this is terrible. The terps aren't good or what have you. They know from someone who's credible.
But over the years, Thunder, it's been like you talked about the different strains, but people have had different names for different strains. The Chronic, that Fire. And I keep telling you should get your own brand called the Thunder. And I'm telling you, it's going to go. Man, did you hit that Thunder? Oh, man, boy, I need to get you some Thunder. I think you should get your own strain, Thunder, with the hair on the package, and it'll be like Thunder. It'll be that Thunder.
Right. Well, you know what? Thaddaus, you're absolutely right. It does cost not a lot of money. It does cost money to actually create your own strains. You hear people talking about, I'm popping seeds. You hear Burner from Cookies or somebody else, they're popping seeds. And a lot of times what that means is it's really simple. It reminds me of back when we were younger and we were in elementary school and we took a bean and we put it in a white paper towel and we moistened the paper towel and we put the seed in there and we waited 2 or 3 days and then all of a sudden it sprouted a little bit and we were able to plant it into a paper cup. Do y'all remember that? Same exact thing. Same exact thing. That is what a popping seed is in the cannabis space. And we pop those seeds, and you never know what type of strain you're going to get. Really, you really, really don't. And so once you pop a seed, you might find that one OG or that one gelato that people are just like, I got to have this. And you never know what you're going to get, right? And so that's what's the unique process of being able to be in this space and be a grower.
How do you
But you're absolutely
determine that
right. I would
seed?
love to have my own strain. Listen up there. We're going to send it up there and bring it back down.
Okay, universe.
You talked about the seed being destroyed when you create a strain. How do you preserve it, and how do you know that what you have created is worth preserving?
So that's a very good question. So let's say that they're out there popping seeds, and you're going to love this. I'm going to walk you through a grow. Okay. So in the grow, people are popping seeds, or they may be cloning. They clone the mom plant. Okay. And so we may have this big, beautiful cannabis plant, and it's a female. It's always a female. That if we're going to clone it, and we just kind of cut off little pieces, and we put aloe vera and some more gel around it, and then we place it into our soil, and we wait for the roots to sprout. Okay, and all of that is done in the nursery. Okay, it's all in the nursery. That's what we call it. It's in the nursery. And then once the roots sprout and you actually have a good plant that you can move into the second room. When you move it into the second room, you're putting it into the soil, and then you're putting all the nutrients into the soil. Now, we have to create what's called day and night. So sometimes the lights are on for so many hours, and then the lights are cut off for so many hours. We have to create and simulate the wind. So there's fans all around the room that are on the ceiling, and they're blowing the plant. It's the most beautiful thing that you can ever see. I mean, literally, if you have an opportunity to tour grow, it's amazing. Now, you don't want to have contaminants and things like that. So basically, when we go into these spaces, we actually have to put on these suits that keep all types of contaminants that we may bring in, a little bug, a micro this, a micro that. It keeps them from messing with the plant. And as the plant starts to grow, it takes a little bit of time, but not much. It starts to flower, and that's when the magic begins. And so we put a little stress on it to send all of the terps and stuff into the plant, up into the fruit. And then it's almost time to harvest. Once it's time to harvest, they harvest them. And then you have people that trim and then dry the plant, and they hang from these huge racks, and they dry. And then that's what you see in the dispensaries, and you see that people sell. But if you can see the beginning of it, it is huge. It's a STEM project. You cannot do this without science. They have to have the exact amount of water, the exact amount of sunshine or lights. They also have to have the exact amount of wind blowing into the grow room to make this happen. So it's really huge. I love it.
At what point does the plant have to determine its pronoun? Or can cannabis choose to be non-binary?
I love that question.
Thunder, are you a botanist? I mean, do you become a botanist when you know, because you're an expert at this?
Well, you don't really become that, but I think you pretty much have the qualifications for it, but strictly in this. And a lot of people that grow, not only can they grow cannabis or hemp, but they can also grow. Some of them are good at growing psilocybin. That's a whole nother conversation. And so we're learning to do that. And then there's some people that are able to grow. They grow hemp for a little while, and then they turn around and they literally grow fruits and vegetables in that same soil. And I love that, because what it does is it cleans it. And when you get a chance to taste lettuce or tomatoes from the same place that hemp is grown, it's the purest form. I mean, it's delicious.
Thunder, what does the irrigation system need to be as opposed for hemp as to cannabis? Because I know hemp can grow pretty much anywhere under any condition. And I'm assuming that the cannabis needs a lot more care and treatment and irrigation.
Because she's a female, right? Because she's a female, she needs more
No,
care.
I wasn't trying to say that. See, how you trying to start something, man. Don't start none, won't be none. I wasn't saying that at all. The flower is delicate and needs to be protected. That's what I understand coming from the cannabis as opposed
Absolutely.
to the hemp. Where the hemp could be more ashy and get along with less water and come under most adverse conditions.
Well, you know
Adverse
what?
conditions.
Nature is so freaking beautiful on how this, because you got to keep in mind, this is a crop. We did not create this. This was already here before we came. And what I love about this, if you study anything to do with cannabis or hemp, you'll understand that it's a male and female plant, but the male plant has so much to do with the female plant being successful. A lot of times, most growers want to keep the male plant away from the female plant because they don't want to have issues of the female plant being stressed and turning into a male plant. But naturally, the male plant sends out a smell. This is so amazing. Sends out a smell to keep away rodents, to keep away the enemy. So the male plant is there to protect the female plant. And I just think it's huge. I think it's really, if you start studying this nature,
that is very cool.
It works. It's just powerful to me. It really,
That
really
is very
is.
cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So all the spider mites and all of that, male plants actually keeps that away. But what you'll find in most grows that are organic or natural, they'll also use ladybugs, and the ladybugs are in the soil and things like that, and they will turn around and eat away any unnatural or bothersome pest that's out there. We didn't even know ladybugs were that bad. Ladybugs are bad, baby.
Yeah, because for me, I'm like, ladybugs are almost kind of like, I'm annoyed, but I don't know. I didn't know how valuable and useful they were to, to a plant or anything like that. But Dad was asking about that pronoun thing. Wait a minute. So what was your response to that? Dad, what was that question? Changing pronouns for the plants?
You really don't know until you pop the seeds, to be honest with you, if it's going to be a male or female seed, if it's naturally occurring. Now, there are seeds that have been selected to flower early and all of that, and we know that those are going to be the female seeds. But in the natural process of all these things, you won't know until you pop it.
Okay.
So, but you have to declare it, don't you? I thought that was everybody had to declare their pronouns now.
It's gonna declare itself. It's gonna declare itself when you start seeing it, and you'll know what it is. And you definitely will know what it is, and it won't test out right for a female plant. Now, when you have a female crop that is stressed and it starts to turn into a male crop, there's no way to turn it back. Unfortunately, it's over. It's done. I wonder, would you consider that like cannabis going into menopause? I'm just saying.
But here's the other thing, Thunder, that and on the last show we talked about older folks that probably used to smoke weed earlier in their lifetime and now considered new folks that just now getting into the space considered to be canna boomers. Like for me, I had hip replacement surgery a couple of times on the same hip replacement surgery, and there's something to be said for chronic pain and pain relief. There's a belief that people of color have a super high tolerance or threshold for pain, and so whenever you're trying to get medication to manage pain, now it's because of the opioid crisis, they're really restrictive in what they will give you. However, in the cannabis space, and when I visited your shop, you got the CBD with the THC, but you've also got a product that has CBG, which I found to be extremely helpful for my neck and hip. And I love the fact that I'm able to use those creams and balm and get to the point of pain and relief. I don't smoke, so I don't like smoke. I don't want smoke. I don't like the gummies because I don't necessarily want to be high, but I do want to relieve the pain. And those bombs being applied directly on the spot without necessarily getting high, but experiencing the relief. And as I've turned into the bionic man over the last couple of years.
I like that. I like that. Yes, we are able to help you in this industry. We're able to help you with wellness. And so if your choice is not to go with prescription drugs and you want to try something, or maybe you've already tried prescription drugs and you don't want to stick with that, there's great opportunities in all of the CBD, CBG, CBN, which is a night one that helps you with sleep. CBG helps with inflammation, but it also helps with weight loss, ladies. Yes, yes, yes. And so there's so many different things that our cannabinoid system, look at our cannabinoid system and figure out what you need. And then there's something on the market for that. And I love topicals because they get straight to the point. We also have what's called RSO oil or Rick Simpson oil, which is a very strong oil that he used for his
Thunder, your screen is frozen on my side. I don't know what it
Okay.
looks like for everybody else. You're back up and moving now. One of the other things, Thunder,
I'll just interrupt here. Your shots are all fine. You have a little bit of an internet problem, Thaddaus, so just go ahead. You're fine.
So when I talk about
Okay, that was
RSO
me.
oil, okay, yeah, when I talk about RSO oil, I want to just kind of give people some examples from that. My daughter is disabled. She's autistic, nonverbal, IQ below 30. And when you're not prepared for that, let's just be honest, you're not prepared for a disabled child. We plan for everything. We plan for weddings. We plan for graduation. We plan the perfect pregnancy and what we're going to bring the child home in. But we don't plan for when we get the diagnosis of a disability in our family. And so for me, I was looking for answers. And I spent years trying to figure out how to help her and other people like her. And so when you start talking about this particular plant, you're not wanting your child or your loved one, if they're a senior citizen, if you're a caregiver for your mom, dad, or family member, you may not want them to be drowsy all the time. You may not want that. And so what this has allowed me to do is actually help her reconnect different things, help her with anxiety, all of those different things. And so one of the ways that you can use this without getting high per se is your navel. You can actually, and I learned this in Michigan, you can actually rub some of the topicals on the person's navel and they can actually absorb the benefits without the head high or the body high.
that's incredible, and I think it's so important. And again, we're not a medical show, so we're not giving medical advice or medical information. We're just talking about some of the benefits that you've noticed and how those translate into value in an evaluation process. One of the other projects that I really like that you've worked on is the agri-hood development and the wellness, creating communities of wellness that also center around. It's just like it's rural development, and in the rural development space, you can create. Just imagine a mixed use subdivision with wellness, as well as hiring a farm manager, so you can manage fresh foods, farm to table. You can increase the availability of housing, and the housing can be somewhat affordable because it's in a more remote, rural type of area. So to increase the quality of life. So Thunder, I'm gonna let you go ahead. No, Thunder, you can't talk. We got to get Shawnee more airtime. I promise you, this is Shawnee's show.
Can I make a correction?
No,
No,
Thunder, please, no.
Not in agri-hoods are not always in rural areas. They can be in rural areas, but agri-hoods literally are in the city, and that's why it's called the hood, agri-hoods. But I love it because we're creating neighborhoods, and sometimes it's in rural areas or undeveloped areas. I don't even want to call them rural because every rural area is becoming a part of a community because we're running out of land. And so what's really great about the agri-hoods, if you start looking around the country, you're like, hey, there's not one in my state. There's absolutely one in your state. And what's so great about it is that you can create a community that you want to live in. And one of them that I found was really, really special that was created by Ross Perot's son is that he used, and I do this also, but I loved the way he did it. He was inspirational. He actually put tiny homes, regular homes, a school, coffee shop, everything that you needed in your community. But what was so beautiful about that is he also created a butterfly community in that area, which was really, really cool. Because think about it. If you don't have to leave your space, and this is coming out of years and years of where people working at home and things like that. If you don't have to leave your space, why should you? So think about actually being able to buy a house or build a house, and you don't know how to garden. You're at work, right? So, but you're able to hire, or your community is able to hire someone that has the skill to be a gardener. And you have your own little small plot of land where you and your family can go and pick tomatoes on the weekend and help out. But you're actually able to do all those things in what's called an agri-hood. One of the houses that's in the agri-hood too, one of the bigger homes, is called a barn dominium. And so when you think about a barn dominium, you're thinking, hey, I don't want to live in a barn. What is this? But it's like this huge home that allows you to have space above you that you can actually create more of a wellness environment for yourself. So a barn dominium may have horses, or may have your rigs, or may have your boat, but it also may create a whole family center that's for your family. So I think they're huge. I think they're amazing. And I think it's a huge opportunity to get a different type of loan. Everybody's used to getting that Fannie Mae, that VA, but there's other loans that's out there that you can get.
Really,
Now,
where would
you
you go
mentioned
about?
in the last video that there had to be some space in between the farming of cannabis and hemp, and I think you mentioned it was like
It
a
was like a
thousand.
1,000 feet. Are you talking about the
But then
space
how do
between?
you? Yeah. So then how do you? Well, then how would you have the agri-hood if you have to have that type of buffer in between?
Well, see, agri-hoods are not based off of cannabis. Agri-hoods are a community within itself that allows you to grow agriculture.
Okay.
So you can have your chickens, you can have your horses, and all of
Goats.
that. So you don't
Okay.
have to have hemp there, you don't have to have cannabis there. And it is
Okay.
a huge way of being able to have food to table.
Yeah. Yeah. And get rid of the
So when you
food
said
desert.
agri-hood, Thunder, you talked about. So are you talking about urban gardens and the abilities? Because now there's been specific opportunities to create urban gardens. In the last downturn, urban gardens were an awesome transitional use. But now, with there being such a shortage on real estate and property values going through the roof, a lot of high rises.
Mhm. Absolutely. And that's what it's about. It's being able to create your world within a world. And so that's why I love the agri-hoods as an opportunity for our community and people in general to really create the life that they want. Within a safe space, and it's creating that safe space that makes it really, really exciting because you are, like I talked about, the butterfly farm, or you're able to have a community coffee shop where not only are you taking your family to to have coffee and to commune with other people that are in your community, but you're also able to say, okay, I want to be able to grow my own food. I want to be able to harvest my own animals. Um, I mean, it's huge. It's a great opportunity to go back to the original lifestyle with having help because, a lot of us, we remember being able to shuck peas and things like that on the porch with our grandparents. But this next generation may not have had that opportunity, but they're moving toward that. They want that. They want to be able to say, I know where this food came from. And I think that's huge.
So with that, where would you say the next largest opportunity is in the cannabis valuation and hemp space? Because I've seen that they are now adding cannabis into food products, not just the gummies, but meals. Like if you go to Las Vegas at Planet 13, they got cannabis restaurants, cannabis smoothies, and the health and byproducts there. What is the most growing demographic for cannabis? Is it the baby boomers utilizing the canna boomers utilizing hemp for pain management? Is it young folks using it for to be able to take away anxiety? There's a lot of anxiety and traumatization that society is experiencing. Where is the best opportunity that you see that you would advise folks going on? Because it seems like there's all the opportunities are huge. And do you want to try to get a specialty within the space or master the space as a whole, or start off as a cannabis judge license holder and then graduate to a cannabis valuator? But even in with our 1890 students and the majority of all of the 1890 schools having ag departments, should the kids be looking at soil sciences and the opportunities in valuing hemp as a crop, agriculture, the whole valuation conundrum? I mean, I know there's a lot of research that's being done.
There's so much opportunity it's amazing. But what's on the market right now that's really pushing forward? Do you know there's a decrease in people drinking alcohol? There's a decrease in that, but most people drink it because they have to, or they feel that they are pressured to drink it socially. You know what I'm saying? So let's say that you're at a function and one of these New Year's Eve functions, things like that. A lot of people are saying, hey, I don't want to drink alcohol. So what do I need to do? And so they are turning to infused drinks, whether they're infused with CBD or whether they're infused with medicinal mushrooms or whether they're infused with THC. So that is a huge lane to get into. If you're great at cooking, there's nothing wrong with cross-pollinating what you do to learn how to infuse your food, things like that. I love medicinal mushrooms. That's the next forefront. So I want to give you guys the market for that. And the reason why that's going to go quicker than cannabis and hemp is because of the fact that you don't smoke it. And so medicinal mushrooms right now, you can find them on Amazon. You can find them at your health food store. So many people are drinking coffee that have lion's mane, reishi, turkey tail, and all of those things are helping people live a better life and have wellness to them. But they all require one thing, and that's real estate.
So with the infused drinks, I know that's a particular market. So that's going to be like vitamin water. And then with I've seen the infusion into desserts. So what is the actual infusion? Would it be like salads, herbs added to salads, or infusion in the food itself? I know they got infused smoothies. Where do you see this going?
Well, it's really funny that you asked that particular question because really it's a process, a simple process. And I teach the class at my dispensary and I also teach it online. But you take the cannabis and the hemp and you actually make either coconut oil or you will make butter. And that's how they infuse all of those particular things. And so when you're talking about edibles, I love it because of the fact that it's like anything else. If something is homemade, it doesn't have the preservatives and things like that in it, and it's going to feel different than actually buying a gummy on the shelf. So those are called cottage industries, and so there's so many different opportunities for people to get into this space based off of the cottage industry. So in your community, look up the cottage laws, and then you can find out how to enter into this space based off the cottage laws in your state.
How do you reproduce it for consistency?
How do you reproduce what? The oils?
So if say you come up with a good strain or a good batch and you're able to infuse it into a meal or into a cookie, is there consistency on the infusion process, or is it hit or miss?
It's not hit or miss. If you're knowing what you're doing, you're going to use the same strain each time. You're going to use the same process, and you're going to measure. I mean, this is not a fly-by-night business by any shot at all. This is truly science. It's really a STEM project, whether you're cooking or whether you're actually infusing a pre-roll. It is actually a STEM or growing. So that's how you're going to get your consistency. But after you do this, after you do that whole situation, the next thing that I would suggest you to do is actually go get your stuff tested. Get it tested at some of these testing facilities so you can find out exactly what your THC limits is or what your CBD, CBN, or CBG. You can find out all of that testing. And the other thing that I wanted to add to that, some people are asking or will ask you on this podcast, why would it be so important to move from legacy to legal? Okay. Why is that black market what's the benefit of leaving that black market? Because they're making a ton of money in that black market. Let's just be honest. They are, right? But what you're going to find is the testing and the consistency for the consumer is going to be key. And that is one of the benefits of crossing over from the legacy market to the legal market. When I was doing the Smoke Currency tour, I was in New Jersey, and I actually covered both. I covered legacy and legal. And what was so fun about doing that is because some of the best, and that's in my book, The Green Standard, some of the best cannabis and hemp is still grown in the illegal market, in the legacy market. So moving those growers over and letting them know, hey, we support you and we want you to still be in this industry and we want you to be licensed, but we also want to have a standard. And that standard is when it goes to the testing lab, that the consumer is getting the same thing. And they may have all the greatest intentions in the world, but we need to test for molds. We need to test for heavy metals. We need those tests done because anytime someone puts anything in their body, whether it's water, whether it's sugar, whatever product it is, we need to make sure it's safe. And that's what you're going to find right now that's going to start changing. I've been looking at all of the political landscape. People are asking questions about dyes. They're asking questions about mold. They're asking questions about all of those things because guess what? Our bodies can't really take anymore. We can't take any more of those types of levels that will make us sick.
Hey, Thunder, I have a controversial question for you.
Let's shoot it out. Let's go.
Okay, so you're a mother, I'm a mother, right? We have children, and we were pregnant at some point. And so for me, I was pregnant while in college. And so my whole college lifestyle shifted. Okay, so no more consumption, right? Because I'm like, it's bad for the baby. It's bad, as bad as bad. I can't do it. Are you finding that? Do you believe that? And I know we're not giving medical advice, but I'm just asking, do you think that we'll get to a point where a mother who is pregnant will feel comfortable with consuming, whether it's oil, whatever kind of consumption, oil, smoking it, gummy, whatever? Do you believe that we'll get to a point where a mother with child will?
We're here now. We're here right now. Yes, there are 420 doulas out there. We're here right now because
We are
let's
here
just be
right
honest.
now.
We are here right now. Let's be honest. Pregnancy is very hard on the body. Okay, it's very, very hard on the body. And one of the things that most women experience is nausea, right?
Yes.
Morning sickness is huge. Okay. And what we found is that for some people, cannabis will help with morning sickness. Now, in the state of Oklahoma, and baby, I love it. That's one thing I love about this state because women are very progressive and we're demanding more across the country. But in this particular state, the first thing that happens, or most states, if a person is pregnant, they stop their use immediately. But if you have a medical card here in the state of Oklahoma, what they will do is they will not prosecute you for using products that will help you, but you actually have to have a medical card for this to
Okay.
work. So
And
in
then with the
Georgia,
baby, oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
Georgia. With the
But you
baby,
can find 420 doulas. I just want to share that with you.
okay. So I guess, well, I guess that's another controversial question. But the baby, the fetus,
Mhm.
will be okay.
So I cannot say that the fetus is going to be okay because they have the warning labels on everything, right? But
Yeah.
if your physician who has prescribed your cannabis for your nausea or whatever that you have, your issues that you're having, a lot of times with anything, they do not want you to stop taking something that you already are taking that's for a benefit. So let's say that that you have some other ailment and you have a prescription drug. Most of the time, they don't stop you from taking that. So I would tell you to go to your physician, look up some 420 doulas, and really research in your state. But in the state of Oklahoma, because the first thing that they do in most states, if the baby tests positive for any type of drug, they will call in Child Protective Services. But if you have a medical
Mm.
card, that will not happen. And so I've actually did some consultations with women in New Jersey and other states and Georgia so they can understand the process. But this is going to take lobbying. It really, really is because most of the people that are making these laws, they may not know. They grew up when we grew up where this is your brain on drugs. You remember the egg was
Yeah.
in the frying pan and blah, blah,
Right.
blah. Wear your red
Right.
socks on Tuesday because we're saying but to me, I think with education and with knowledge, we learn to do better. At
Yes.
one point, I remember as a kid, I was driving, or my grandfather was driving a pickup truck, and I was riding in the back of the pickup truck. No seatbelt, no nothing. We were having a great time. We don't do that anymore. You don't see that anymore. And so,
Right.
as we start to educate ourselves about our bodies, as we start to ask for wellness, and as we start to take control of our health, we will do the necessary footwork to find out what's best. And there's so many holistic doctors out there that will help you with that. Don't take it from me. Don't take it from AI, baby. AI is stealing so much information. And I'm not against AI. Don't take it from AI because your body is totally different. Go and find out for yourself. Don't just take our opinion. Go and find out for yourself what you need for your body.
Okay, mothers. Well, you heard it here. Like, you can consider it, but speak to your doctors about it, and don't feel ashamed to have those conversations about being comfortable while you're with child.
And it's so funny that you say that. My daughter, who's disabled, I mean, I spent 3-4 years of her life buying outfits just to go to the doctor, right? Every time we were going to therapists, this, that, and the other. And it was actually at the skating rink that I saw a young man with a tie-dye sweatshirt, and he had a weed emblem on. And, I was just seeing him skate. And I was like, I had my daughter there. It was something that we could do that she could still stem at. She could just be normal in that space. And I asked him, I said, you're such a good skater. How did you achieve that? And he basically said, hey, I am a medical patient on cannabis. He said, I'm autistic too. I noticed your daughter is autistic. And that changed my life. that really changed my
Wow.
life, because at that point I she became a patient. I went through the Texas Cups program and got her a medical card. She could not even extend her fingers. She had apraxia, so she wasn't able to move her fingers. And for my experience, I'm just telling you my experience, now she can plug in her iPad, she can watch her Teen Bop and all this other stuff. We went to a Janet Jackson concert and a Nelly concert, and she was just having her, she is forming her own reality of what her life is supposed to be about with wellness. Is she cured? Absolutely not. But her anxiety is lower, and she's able to learn in the classroom. And I think that that's a huge statement when we start talking about quality of life. And so, whether you're interested in growing your own food with the agri-hoods, or whether you're interested in finding out about CBD, THC, hemp, plants products, whether you're interested in buying some clothes that are made out of hemp because they last forever, you need to start doing your own research to see how you can fit into this scope and into this world.
Wow. Incredible. Yeah.
So I'm
You see
really
how
excited.
that is?
Well, no, I'm just excited about us being able to offer these courses and this opportunity moving forward for people to be able to grow in an exciting space and be pioneers in the space as well, because the sky is the limit. And if you start learning those principles now, as you move forward, you can create your own lane of opportunity in the hemp and cannabis valuation space. And I believe it's kind of in the process now as prohibition, as things started to move forward with prohibition. It's just they haven't quite figured out how to tax it. Once they get that all squared away, I think that it'll be wide open. And if people start to be able to practice those skill sets, they can forge ahead.
Right.
That's just my
Our
thought.
biggest obstacle right now, which I think is going to change in the next 2 to 3 years, is banking. Once banking, the doors open for banking, then you're going to see some amazing jumps into this space, and they have to make some changes. And so I am so dedicated to what this plant means and what it needs. It's a female plant, and the fact that it has been so ostracized and made into the boogeyman is ridiculous to me. I would not tell anybody to consume it if they're not interested in consuming it. But what I would suggest is to be able to figure out how this plant can help you. And it may be, like I said, I mean, Adidas used to make tennis shoes out of hemp. And if you're a fashion designer, it's out there for you. If you're a builder, you may want to look at what this product will do for efficiency in building a building or something that you want to create in your life. Cars are coming back. Some of the cars are coming back and building their dashboards out of hemp. And so there's so many different things that you can do with hemp. And just so, if you don't mind, I'm gonna touch a little bit on psilocybin and medicinal mushrooms, because that's always the next question that people ask. That is also a place where we do evaluations of mushrooms and what that crop looks like. And so that's the next that's the frontier. If you were a Star Trek fan back in the day, that's the next frontier.
Well, I believe what you said as far as banking, and I believe the next solution in banking would move to the blockchain. I believe that the cryptocurrency and those different mediums will be able to not only transport the money, but secure the money, so you're not walking around with all of this cash and feel safe. So I believe that is the next logical frontier to be able to monetize this securely. And then that also moves into a lot of the stuff that we are teaching as far as the future, the tokenization of real estate. So being able to value fractional interest utilizing blockchain technology and smart contracts. I talked to you the other day about the blockchain and NFTs and getting your hair made into NFT and digitalizing it. That's real. That's a super real
That's real.
opportunity for you to be able to continue to capitalize.
That is absolutely real. I mean, seriously, what's so important about this for anybody that's interested is that we're moving into a whole new sector, a whole new wave. And I always tell people when I'm out speaking across the country, it's great if you cannot afford physical real estate, then you should buy virtual real estate. And people are like, what is virtual real estate? So you're absolutely right, the blockchains. But I'm going to take it a step further. Right now, if you got $10, $20 in your bank account, you know, Christmas has hit us, baby. It has hit us. But if you got $10 or $20 in your bank account and you can come up with a great name, .com or .ai, buy it right now. Buy it and hold on to, especially in the cannabis space or in the hemp space, because I've been able to purchase for $10 or $20, hold it for 3 to 6 months to a year. And here comes this business that has done their business plan. They've already got their logo together, and boom, they hit my wall. And my wall is my virtual real estate wall. And they actually have to pay me. They have to pay me for that .com. And so that is real estate right there. And you can make a lot of money off of that. You can literally buy something for $20, $30. Don't even make the website. Don't even worry about making the website. Just park it. And there are brokers out there.
Thaddaus, you've been at the forefront of various initiatives in the real estate space. I know you've invested heavily in web names and that sort of thing and in the virtual space. But also, I remember when you were investing in cemetery plots and you were teaching folks how to make investments in cemetery plots, which was very lucrative. And it's kind of like being able to own a fractional interest in real estate. So you have been at the forefront of a lot of initiatives empowering women while still maintaining your brand. And again, that brand has been tremendous, and people see you coming way before you even get there. And the brand has been extremely powerful. I've been at conferences with you, and everybody wants to look at it, touch it, want to know what you use, how do you hold it, how do you maintain it, So there's and when you go on these different tours, it's an attraction. So I think it's helped to lend towards your celebrity, because I don't think nobody else that I've ever seen on the planet with hair that big.
It really has. I mean, to be honest with you, I left corporate America, and when I left corporate America, I stopped straightening my hair, and I just stopped straightening my hair, and I stopped fitting into that space. Back in the day, a lot of you guys may not know this, young people, it was the IBM look, which meant you could wear black, gray, and if you were really cutting edge, you might come out with a cream pantsuit or a tan pantsuit. For women, we could not wear multicolored nail polish. We had to wear clear or French manicure. There was just so many restrictions. And to be in this space and to literally live to see us being able to be creative and have the ability to make those decisions. It wasn't like that in corporate America. Was it like that for you, Shawnee?
I've always been, as soon as I got done with college, I kind of came into the real estate industry. So I didn't really have that experience. I've always, but I still believe that I needed to dress and be a certain way in the industry, even though I wasn't in a corporate setting. I learned that in college, or just through hearsay, govern yourself accordingly, dress a certain way, stay within the box, don't cut outside the lines and things like that. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so for me to be able to deal with my heritage, Thaddaus talked about my father being a real estate appraiser. He was a general appraiser, one of the first ones, one of the first Black appraisers in the industry. I can remember going with him and holding the little piece of tape as he would walk around the building to measure the building. And becoming an appraiser myself, I took it for granted. I really, I want to tell you that I took it for granted. My dad taught me real estate during Christmas time. I wanted this Barbie dream house. It was 3 stories. And I was like, Daddy, I got to have this Barbie dream house. And so he brought it for me. So on Christmas Day, I opened it. The box was there. And I was like, okay, when y'all going to put it together? And he said, no. And he gave me the directions and he said, these are the plans and specs. You need to understand what this means.
So Thunder, when you held the end of the tape measure, I'm just trying to determine, was your father as cruel to you as my father was to me? And we weren't measuring around the house, but we were measuring 2x4s or drywall as we were rehabbing apartments. And I'd grab the tape measure and I'd take it, and he'd be like, no. I'm going to need you to take the idiot in. And he's flipped the tape measure around. And so that was pretty much my life. And then when I got around 16 and my brother was 14, I used to make him take the idiot in every time we would be measuring and cutting. And
well, my dad never called it. He never called it the idiot in, but he really instilled in me about real estate. And so for me, it's something that comes really natural. It's just something that comes natural. It's around the kitchen table. Before his death, we actually owned a title company. I owned a mortgage company. I was an appraiser, a real estate broker. I'm a commercial builder. I just finished building we're doing the build out inside now, but we just built a restaurant. It's nothing that I can't build. And if you understand the principles of real estate, you can understand the principles of life, because everything takes land. Everything takes up space. There's nothing that you're doing in this world that you're not required to use real estate for. And what I love about appraisers, because, my dad was an appraiser, so of course I love them. Today is his heavenly birthday. And
happy birthday, happy heavenly birthday.
Yes,
his name was James.
His name was James Jones. And he would call me and he'd say, this is James Jones, your father. Like, I didn't know who it was. But anyway, what I can say about real estate is simply this. If we can open the doors to our community to understand what appraising is about, we will earnestly understand what value is and what keeping generational wealth is, because we don't understand it. We really don't. And so I was lucky to grow up in a house where my father was an appraiser. I'm an appraiser. An appraiser is the most powerful person on the planet. They set the value to everything that we do, whether it's food, whether it's jewelry, whether it's the tennis shoes, whether it's the movie, whether it's your car, whether it is buildings, whether it's air or water. We set the value to it. And if you can't set the value and understand the value, you can't hold on to the value. And so that's why I will never leave this industry, because I realize how important it is to pass on this knowledge to people that just really are taking it for granted. They don't understand. They're trying to build wealth. Everybody's looking on Instagram, social media, blah, blah, blah. And they're trying to build wealth. I need 10 properties. I need these cars. I'm going to put them on Turo and I'm going to rent out my cars. I'm going to have 200 pairs of tennis shoes, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to have artwork. I'm going to have paintings. I'm going to have all of these things. But unless you have someone that can hold the value and understand that you are holding on to that number can be wasted away very quickly. And so you have to understand all of the approaches to get in life where you want to be. And that's why
that just falls into what we want to do as far as inclusion in the space. And part of why we have been able to be tricked out of different things is because we don't know the value. And like you talked about, property values and Zillow, a lot of things will be automated, but there will always be a space in valuation for people who have a certain skill set. And you can just use that technology in order to enhance the process. Like all of those things that you talked about are on the ground and forefront, and you're not going to replace that with AI. I don't think AI can necessarily judge the cannabis. AI can't judge the seed. But if you have those basic valuation principles with a little bit of training, you will be able to carve out a niche for yourself into the future and create all kind of other opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. This is a stepping stone to wherever you want to go. And I hope I see a lot of people in this space. I like to look around and see people that look like me. And I like to be able to pass the baton.
I'm sorry, Thunder, but you ain't going to find a lot of people walking around looking like you. So you're not going to have a legion of little Thunders. It take too long. I mean,
I don't know about that. You know what? I have a fan club. It's called the Thunderdome, and so I can't wait to for 2025. They're launching the Thunderdome, and so I'm really excited about that. So I'm really excited.
We could bring back the Thundercats. What about the Thundercats? You could bring back the Thundercats.
Well, you know, that's trademarked. That's the reason why we didn't do the Thundercats. They're trademarked. But
okay. All right. Nix the Thundercats. We're going to rock with the Thunderdome and the
Thunderdome, baby.
Like us, subscribe to our podcast. Our goal is to close the wealth gap through innovation and cultivation. We want to bring exposure and expansion. I'm so excited about these opportunities. We're building out our schedule for next year. We will be including the Thunder Walker experience as well when we go to travel to our HBCUs, as well as our Black farmers, talking about the different opportunities in the ag space, the hemp as opposed to the cannabis. We'll be offering and teaching courses on our learning management platform. Excited to have those coming out. And they will be rolling along in part and parcel with our National Appraisal Apprenticeship Program. So, again, I'd like to wish everybody a happy holiday. Like us, subscribe. I'd like to thank my co-host, Miss Shani Aldridge. I'd like to thank our reoccurring guest host, Miss Thunder Walker, who we will be meeting up with. I'd like to send a special shout out to William Michael Bill Cunningham, and he's doing his thing with the holidays and getting his reports out. And so I'm very thankful. Our students right now are currently doing research, and the first week in January, we will be releasing the 10K BA, 10K MA Project 2025 report. And so I'm really excited about that. And we are pulling that together. And I know it's the holidays, but we are still working and trying to wrap up a strong 2024, preparing to go into a strong 2025. Thank you all for coming out again. Like us, subscribe. Everybody have a great holiday. Thunder, thank you so much. And we really appreciate you. And we look forward to all your success next year.
Awesome.